Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In our civilization, it used to be common knowledge that if you haven't committed a crime, you could not be punished. You could not be punished by association in this manner. If I belong to a group and some people from that group commit a crime, just because I belong to that group, it doesn't make me guilty of committing that crime. It is the individuals who committed the crime that are criminals, and they will be indicted, convicted, and punished. As an example, I will go straight to, let's say, the atomic bombs dropped in 1945 in August 6 and August 9 by the United States of America military. And that decision was made by Harry Truman, George Bush. And Harry Truman agreed that 2 atomic bombs should be dropped on 2 cities, civilians. So he killed, by his decision, by his order, I think a total about 300,000 people overall. I think in an instant, I think there were like 80,000 and 70,000 or something like this, civilians. Now that, under any kind of circumstance, you would consider it a war crime. However, you want to look at it. Now, that's killing civilians. Now, should the American citizens alive then be considered war criminals because the decision was made by a few guys to commit this atrocity? Of course not. Of course not. Now we have here an issue that the Ukrainians are well aware of the circumstances. Why? Because they were part of the same system in the Soviet Union, when they were part of the Soviet Union, the evil empire, remember? And they probably do it still right now. But they point the finger at the Russians knowingly, knowing the situation is as I will tell you it is. If you don't believe me, you just do a few searches and you're going to find out, or ask people who come from that part of the world. What am I talking about? Here is the article. The article comes from New Voice of Ukraine from April 30th. Russia selects army officers for World Judo Championships, thumbing nose at IOC recommendations. So this is probably International Olympic Committee. I know something about all this, and I'm well aware what's going on. Now, let's see what the Ukrainians want to do here. The Russian team is named individual neutral athletes and includes 20 athletes. But as if taking the terms martial arts literally, many of the judokas on the Russian team are in fact members of the Russian army. Like those citizens who were alive, contemporary with Harry Truman's and act of dropping 2 atomic bombs, which Kiev accuses of committing atrocities and war crimes in Ukraine. So those guys belong to a nation that was accused of committing atrocities against Japanese civilians. Are they guilty? No. For example, Niaz Ilyasov is a senior lieutenant in the Russian armed forces. Tamerlan, it gives a few names here. They all are lieutenants, and they all have warrant officer of this, warrant officer and this. So they have ranks in the military. According to the recommendation of the International Olympic Committee, Russian athletes who are military personnel should not be allowed to compete. However, it seems that the International Judo Federation has disregarded the IOC's opinion. Earlier, New Voice of Ukraine reported that the Ministry of Sports was to prohibit Ukrainian athletes from participating in competitions where Russians are competing. Very communistic way. Remember when there was, I think, Iranian judoka did not shake the hands, and I think it was also Iranian wrestler who did not want to compete against the Israeli wrestler, what the mass media in the West did. You remember that? In the West, they pointed out that that's really, bad taste. What do you mean? The Iranian didn't want to shake hands with an Israeli fighter, judoka or wrestler, or did not want to compete against. Obviously, it was condemned as stupid. But hey, they want to do it, they want to do it, and we can assess it. So the same here. They did it legally. They said, no, you cannot compete against the Russians. Anyway, let's go back to the army thing. Now, let's start with the communist times. I am very aware of those times and nowadays. I'm giving you the example of Romania, and the same thing was in the Soviet Union because it was the same style. There were two clubs, main clubs, sport clubs. One, the armies, and the other one was the police security services clubs. These two, all right? So that means they had money from the government. They were state-owned clubs, and they had a lot of money, finance. They were not really private then. And after the communists went away, they remained from clubs of the army, clubs of the security, police, law enforcement. So what happened? If you get selected now and then, the same thing I'm guessing is the same thing in Ukraine or in Russia. If you get selected, which was a fantastic achievement in those two clubs, because it was the strongest clubs, because it had the best finance and the best trainers and the best facilities. If you get over there, it was like, you got a contract to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich or big club, like the top of the top. Okay, that was the top of the top. So for you, it was an achievement. Now, you as a civilian would be over there, incorporated in that team. Now, you had to be incorporated in their ranks. So you will receive, like you were incorporated in the army. You will not go in instructions, or you're not going to go with the military, you're not going to do that. But you're going to have a rank. They will give you, okay, now you're a caporal. And after you participate, then you're going to be a sergeant or something. And after a sergeant, you're going to be a lieutenant. After lieutenant, he is not going to be shooting. He's not going to be in the army. All he's going to do is going to be training as a regular sports person, athlete. But in parallel with him, he would get these ranks. Why? Because after this person was reaching a certain age of retirement from sports, he would be able to either get incorporated in the army, then usually it didn't happen that way, but the rank, he would receive money from the rank. He's never going to be a general or something, or he's going to be in the army, I'm going to be in a war. I'm going to give you a straight example. We had, if you are familiar with soccer, with football, I will use the most common situation. 1994, there was the World Cup, football, soccer World Cup in the United States of America. The Romanian national team was playing over there, played here, played very well. All those people that were part at one time of the clubs Steaua, which was the armies, and the other one was Dinamo, which is the same thing. It was in when you hear Dinamo in Russia or Ukraine, Dinamo Kiev. Dinamo Kiev is the team by the law enforcement. Is their team, and the other one Steaua, which over there was something else. I can't remember how it was in Soviet Union. It was the military team. They had ranks. Now the national coach, the trainer, the manager, they call him right now, in those times, 1994, past communist times, was a guy called, his name was Angel Iordanescu. You know, he's a general in the military. That's his rank. He's a general. He never went and commanded any, never got any instructions and so on. Many people, as I said, that played, participated, were legitimate part of that club, signed with that club. They had ranks, but they were not military. When they retired, they will get a pension from the military and from the security services. That's what it is. Now, these guys, that the judokas, that the Ukrainians are pointing the finger, it is true. It is true. They are legally, on the paper, part of the military. True. Were they in a war? I guarantee you not. They are like any other athlete, doing his thing, doing his push-ups, doing his running, eating, sleeping, and that's it. Like anyone here. But in the parallel, he got that going. Another thing happened. These guys usually had arranged already to go to college in the same time. So they were just pushed into college, in a sports college. So after that, you become a sports teacher. Showed up, did not show up, the courses, they do the 4 years. After that, they will receive a diploma. So they were educated, they were already sports teachers. They had a rank in those, in the military or in the law enforcement, security and so on. And at the pension, they would get 2 or 3 pensions. One is a sports guy in the club, the second one is the military, and the third one is a teacher. Okay? Now, if on the paper is written, like in the IOC, the military should be out and so on, yeah, I think the Ukrainians have a point in that, obviously. If it's over there, they took that into consideration. Now, as a practical thing, I think if I did not commit a crime, I should not be punished because I belong to a group of people. That some in the group committed the crime, because if I do like this, I should be guilty of any drive-by shooting that occurs in Chicago because they are American and I am American. And if they say, well, the Americans should be banned from this and from that, I didn't do anything. Why should I be punished? Because I belong to a group. Well, I know that that's kind of a certain kind of term that's used for that, discriminated against or something like that, or, you know, stereotyping. If you are like that, necessary you act like that, you know. I understand how sanctions work. But in this case, I just wanted to bring some clarification. Not to defend those guys or defend, just some clarification so you don't think that those guys are somehow, you know, somehow pushed in just to go over there in, I don't know, the Olympics, if judo, if they're going to be allowed to participate, and do something stupid. Now, are those guys could be used as assets and, you know, when they go over there? Of course, yes, that's an answer. But so can be a civilian. A civilian could be a spy, or it could be an informant, without having a rank. So, you know, that would eliminate the, oh, they must be working, they will do something over there. What do you think an athlete will do over there? I tell you what they will do. They will jump on a plane and will land in a city, and they will taken by a bus, brought to a hotel, and they will stay over there. And from the hotel, are they going to make some phone calls regarding what? Are they going to take some pictures that anyone can take? And then from there, we're going to take it to the facility where they're going to train. And then we'll come back, and they eat, and they go into town, and they're going to visit, and going to take pictures of what? Of the city, or they're going to go to the military installation from outside. Anyone can do that. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? That they will somehow threaten? Are they going to come with weapons or something? They can't. So what exactly is the threat? That they could act like any other idiot and get involved in arguments or something like this? You know, otherwise you will not bring any, I don't know, persons from the Middle East plus the Israelis. Because there might be a chance these guys are going to jump at each other's throat. And many other situations that could occur based on you know, circumstances. Armenians with the guys from Azerbaijan, you won't bring them anymore because they might be fighting. Or the Turks and the Syrians, or the Turks and the whatever. Or the Iranians and the Saudis. Now they're friends, but you know what I mean? They're starting it. Or the Americans and many countries on this planet. You can't put them together. So why not keep the Americans out and allow everybody else to have a nice, calm, secure Olympics or competition, you know. So anyway, this is a weasel move. I am for athletes participating over there. I don't care what their leaders are doing, because they're not guilty of anything. Did you commit a crime? No. Then shut up. Just go over there and do it. So that's why I am looking at these young men and women who participate. They sacrifice their youth. They sacrifice. That's a very rough life, to be an athlete to that level. And you, because some people do some hanky-panky, what do you want him to do? To go and strangle Putin? Is that what you want to do? What do you want him to do? You know, there's, and besides, we intertwine here the freedom of each individual with other people, what allow you to you know, to like, to dislike. Anyway, if these guys support directly somehow Putin, I would understand, but you know, but in this case, these are athletes. All they want is to see who's best and what kind of medals they can get, and have a purpose in life instead of snipping their balls and pretending they're someone else. I mean, that's, I think, very much superior than that. And many others, you know, pretending you're a bird when you're a human being. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to share with you some information that I know directly. I know this. And if someone has a problem with this, don't take it on me. Go and talk to the Russians or with these guys that who are in charge. Or you can take it on me. I don't care. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I would hide somewhere in the basement and do what these guys are telling me. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.